Fiscal policy. Policy refers to the policy followed by the government in a country regarding its revenue and expenditure. It includes public expenditure, taxation, borrowing, and management of public debt. It deals with the flow of funds in an economy. Flow of funds in an economy can influence the volume of output, income, and employment. Therefore, the importance of fiscal policy has increased greatly in recent times. The main objective of fiscal policy are full employment, price stability, economic growth, and balance of payments equilibrium. Instruments of fiscal policy. Public expenditure adds to the income stream of an economy. Then taxation withdraws from the income stream. Therefore, the government can influence the money income of a nation by manipulating public expenditure and taxation. So, the main instruments of a fiscal policy: public expenditure and taxation. Fiscal policy during inflation. The fiscal policy of a country suggests the following measures in order to tackle the situation of inflation. First one, public expenditure. During the time of inflation, private expenditure increases and the prices of goods are increased. To counteract the situation, public expenditure should be reduced to minimum as possible. Expenditures on public works such as road, public parks, post office, buildings, airports, schools, etc. must be avoided, reduced or postponed. The transfer payments must be reduced. This will reduce the disposable income of the people. Second one, taxation. Taxation is another anti-inflationary weapon of the fiscal policy. It is reduced the disposable income of the people. The excess purchasing power of the people can be withdrawn by the government by either raising the rates of existing taxes or introducing new taxes, or by both. The tax structure must be designed in such a way that it may reduce both consumption expenditure and investment expenditure. Expenditure tax and excise duties are anti-inflationary in character. Some economists suggest that the new tax structure should reduce the current income rather than aggregate demand. The next, budget. Budget has become an important fiscal tool in recent years to fight out fluctuations in general price level. The fiscal policy recommends a surplus budget during inflation. A surplus in the budget occurs when the government revenues exceeds government expenditure. The net result is a withdrawal of money income from circulation, which will bring down the level of inflation. Fourth one, public borrowing. Another anti-inflationary measures of the fiscal policy is public borrowing. Public borrowing takes away excess purchasing power from the public. It is voluntary, but it can be compulsory as well if necessity arises. A certain percentage of wages or salary of the employees may be compulsorily deducted in exchange for savings certificate, which will be redeemable after a few years. This will block purchasing power of the definite period. Fiscal policy during deflation. The fiscal policy should aim at raising the aggregate demand, including consumption, expenditure, and investment expenditure in the period of deflation. The following measures are adopted for this goal. First one, public expenditure. During a period of deflation, the effective demand becomes very low. One of the fiscal measures to step up effective demand is an increase in public expenditure. There are two important ways by which public expenditure can be increased. They are pump priming and compensatory spending. Second one, taxation policy. When there is a deflation and a depression, the government should frame the tax policy in such a way as to raise both consumption expenditure and investment expenditure. The government should reduce the burden of taxation on the people. In order to stimulate consumption, the commodity taxes include sale tax and excise duties should be cut down to the minimum possible. For the promotion of private investment, the government should reduce business and corporation taxes. The government should follow a policy of redistributive taxation in order to raise consumption. The richer section of society with low propensity to consume must be subjected to progressive income tax. This income so raised must be utilized for subsidizing the consumption of poorer section. The ultimate result will be rise in consumption, which will work against depression. Budget. The Keynesians recommend a deficit budget in order to fight out deflation and depression because it will inject more money income into the income stream. The main feature of the deficit budget is the expenditure exceed the revenue, and the deficit is usually met the printing new currency. The injection of fresh money income into the circulation will work against depression. Professor Gunnar Myrdal says underbalancing the budget during a depression is not primarily a deliberate policy but a practical necessity. Fourth one, public borrowings. The amount raised through public borrowings can be utilized for the execution of public works and social security programs. But the government will have to consider two things while borrowing from the public during a period of depression. The government should borrow at a low rate of interest so as to keep the burden of the borrowing low. The government should see that the borrowings are made from those people with whom funds are lying idle. Priming and compensatory spending. Pump priming is an initial public expenditure in order to initiate and revive economic activity during a period of depression. Its ultimate aim is to stimulate private investment. This initial public expenditure inject fresh purchasing power into the hands of the people. This will stimulate private investment. Compensatory spending. Compensatory spending by the government aims at compensating the decline in private investment during depression. The government should continue compensatory spending until private investments come to their normal state. This will, through the operation of the multiplier and the accelerator, raise the level of income, output, and employment. Usually, compensatory spending takes place in the forms of public works and social security measures. Monetary policy. Monetary policy may be defined as the conscious management of money supply in a country for the purpose of attaining a specific objective or a set of objectives. It takes various measures to regulate the flow of currency, credit and other money substitutes so as to make the supply equal to demand. In short, monetary policy aims at regulating the economy by regulating the money supply. It is in consultation with the central bank that the government of a country formulates the monetary policy. The main objective of monetary policy are stability of prices, stability of exchange rate, avoidance of trade cycle, neutrality of money, full employment and economic growth. Instruments of monetary policy. Usually the monetary policy of a country is formulated and carried out by the central bank. The important instruments used by the monetary authority are as follows. First one, bank rate. Bank rate is the rate at which the central bank discounts first class bills. The interest rate usually follows the bank rate. That is, the interest rate goes up when the bank rate is raised and vice versa. During a period of inflation, the central bank raises the bank rate. This is followed by a rise in the interest rates. This will discourage borrowings and encourage savings. During a period of deflation and depression, the central bank lowers the bank rate. The consequent fall in the interest rate encourage borrowings. Second one, open market operations. They are the purchasing and sale of eligible securities by the central bank. During inflation and boom, the central bank sells securities in the open market and withdraw the surplus money from the circulation. This is known as open market operation. The central bank buys securities and injects additional money into circulation during deflation and depression. Changes in the reserve ratio. Every commercial bank is required to keep with the central bank a certain percentage of its deposits. This is known as the reserve ratio. When the reserve ratio is raised, the commercial banks are forced to send more cash to the central bank. Then the cash resources of the commercial banks become less and their lending capacity is automatically reduced. When the reserve ratio is lowered, the cash resources of bank increases and lend more. Fourth one, selective credit control. According to this principle, the central bank directs the commercial bank to advance loans only for productive purpose. Loans for unproductive purpose are discouraged. The principle of selective credit control has become important in recent times. Fifth one, credit rationing. It means the restriction placed by the central bank on demands for accommodation made upon it by commercial banks during times of monetary stringency. The credit is rationed by limiting the amount available to each applicant. Monetary policy during inflation. When there is a inflation in a country, the excessive money in circulation must be withdrawn. The following measures are applied for this purpose. When the bank rate is raised, the interest rate will follow it. This will withdraw the surplus money from circulation in the forms of deposit. Besides, at a higher rate of interest and the expenditure by the business community will decrease. Sale of securities to the public by the government will help to withdraw the surplus money from circulation. Raising the reserve ratio of the commercial bank will control the lending activity of the banks. Fourth one, commercial banks must be directed to advance loans only for productive purpose. Monetary policy during deflation. Generally, a cheap money policy is followed in order to mitigate the problem of deflation. By cheap money policy, we mean a low rate of interest. The rate of interest can be brought down by lowering the bank rate. Besides, purchasing of securities by the central bank and printing of additional currency will increase the supply of money in circulation. Increased supply of money will lead to a low rate of interest. At a lower rate of interest, investment will go up, promoting the level of employment and national income. Neutral money policy. The neutral money policy is associated with the name of Professor F.A. Hayek, one of the Nobel Prize winners in economics. He is of the opinion that economic instability is mainly due to monetary instability. So, economic instability can be avoided if the money supply can be properly regulated and brought under control in such a way that the effect of money should not be felt at all. Money should be neither cheap nor dear. It must be neutral. Thus, neutrality of money means zero mark of inflation and deflation in the country.